Sup, y'all, and welcome to the first episode of StrosTalk, where I'm gonna wrap up a whole week's of Astros games. And today we have a lot to talk about, even though it's the first episode. If y'all keep up with the Astros, y'all would know that the Astros went through a pretty rough stretch, especially in regards to the bullpen. They split a series with the Dodgers. They lost a series to the Padres, a really tough loss. But they're bouncing back as they are ahead 2-0 in the series against Boston. So, all in all, they're 500, I believe. No, they're not 500 this week. They are one game ahead this week, or last week. So, let's get right into it. So, the first game we're going to talk about is the first game against Los Angeles. In the beginning, we all thought it was going to be a pitching duel, as Kershaw and Greinke were both cruising by, but Greinke hopped off the cruise as he gave up a 2-run home run to Justin Turner, and Kershaw just continued staying on the cruise as he, rode through the Astros. His only run given up was on a home run to Alex Bregman that wasn't out most of the time. So that's what we call a Mickey Mouse home run here in Minute Maid Park, or a Crawford special, I believe. And in any other park that would not have left. So Greinke's final line, he went 6 innings, which is not bad, but 4 runs, which is not what you want. It's not horrible, but it's not what you want, especially from your ace. I don't have the other specifics because I don't really care about the other specifics for now. Paredes ended up going 1 inning and giving up 3 earned runs. So we need to talk about him again later because he actually showed signs of turning around later on. He got sent down after this game, I believe, or after one of the games. And he's been struggling with his command all season. So hopefully he could turn that around. Yordan Alvarez is one that I want to talk about for this game because after this game, he did not play until yesterday. At the last at-bat in the 9th inning, he struck out swinging, and Dusty Baker said he aggravated his wrist on that swing, so he ended up being out for an extended period of time, almost a whole week, which, at that point you might as well send him to the DL, but he made it before the DL deadline, so that it's better that we didn't send him anyways. But going 0-for-4 with 4 strikeouts is not something Yordan does a lot. He was in the middle of a 0-for-15 slump at that time, and he broke that yesterday, but we'll talk about that later on as well. In Game 2, there weren't a lot of hopes and spirits, as there was Luis Garcia, who a lot of people did not know about, who didn't even have a win yet heading into this season, and started this season 0-for-3. No, not 0-for-3, 0-3. And he was facing the highest paid pitcher of this season, because Bauer had that third year for $17 million, which he's obviously going to opt out of. But this year, $40 million, and next year, $45 million. If you just count those two, he is the highest paid pitcher or player in the major leagues. So you had the highest paid player of 2021 facing off against some dude who made his debut last year. Astros fans are like, ooh, we're going to get swept. And all these Dodger fans who were talking so much the night before are going to keep talking. But they stopped talking for just a teeny bit in the beginning, as Altuve led off the game with a home run straight back to Los Angeles. And Bauer probably cracked his neck as he watched that. If you look back, he turned back pretty quickly, which is pretty funny. And that had all the Astros fans riled up. In fact, there was even a fight at Minute Maid Park that day. Eventually, Luis Garcia was rolling, but he did give up 1 run. It was not earned, as he made an error to allow Mookie Betts to reach, which continued the inning because there was already 2 outs. And if he did not make that error, that inning would have ended right there. Instead, Max Muncy goes to right field with a single with the 2 drive-in Yoshi Susugo. And the game was tied from there. And Astros fans were like, ooh, now we're screwed. This guy's his second year. He did well so far, but what I've noticed about Garcia before this week was that he starts off actually very, very strong, and then through the second time or third time in the lineup, he just starts to crumble, which is why he did not have a win until very late in his career, which, it's not too late in his career, obviously, but for a first win, it is pretty late. As a starter, you do have to go 5 innings to get that win, and he usually just leaves before that 5th inning. His pitch count's usually super high, and he does not qualify for that win, even though he has a quality outing. So that was a big worry. We weren't sure if he could go deep. Granted, coming into this game, he was on a 2-game winning streak, and we were all riled up because we were like, yes, he finally got his wins. But it was against the A's and the Angels. They're not the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the World Series champions of 2021. 2020. Hopefully the Astros are the 2021 World Champions, so ignore that. But instead, Luis Garcia ends up going 6 innings, and only allowing that one unearned run. Carlos Correa got Houston riled up again as he took Tyler Bauer deep into the Crawford boxes. Probably a Crawford special, as it did not have a lot of altitude, and it did not have a lot of distance too. It was 370, I believe, or 330, or 360. It's one of those numbers, and it had the Dodger fans actually pretty upset in the Twitter feeds, but who cares? Who cares? A home run is a home run. If you want to take a cheap home run, you hit it there, And Tyler Bauer ended up taking the loss, even though he only gave up 2 runs on 2 home runs to America's favorite players. He ended that outing going through 6 innings, only 2 runs, which is pretty good. And what I noticed was that Bauer only had 3 strikeouts that game. To this day, that's Bauer's lowest strikeout outing of 2021. And I say to this day because he pitched yesterday. So I'm not talking about since that Houston series, up to that Houston series. I'm talking about up to the day I'm writing this or saying this. And a lot of people were talking about Houston in the game before. They had a ton of swing and misses on Kershaw's breaking balls. They did not have a single one in Game 5. Just to break the myth really quick, the players that did have a swing and miss on their breaking ball from Kershaw was Yordan Alvarez, Kyle Tucker, Chas McCormick, and Martin Maldonado. None of them were on that 2017 team, so that fact, it is true that he did get some swings and misses on the breaking ball in that outing, but it doesn't really mean anything because you're not really comparing that to the squad that the Astros had in 2017 when they did cheat, so that doesn't mean anything. Bauer usually strikes a lot of people out. I was hoping to see the sword. Where was the sword thing? I was hoping to see Correa do that, to be honest. Bauer did not have the chance to do it as he only got he got 3 strikeouts. He struck out 2 people though, as he got Taylor Jones to end the first. He got Martin Maldonado in the 2nd inning, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And he got Taylor Jones again. Taylor Jones, I don't like you. I don't like you at all, to be honest. But we'll talk about that hatred later. So it's nice to see Garcia come through. That's when he starts making his name as a legit player. He's now after that game, on a 3-game winning streak, longest outing of his whole career, gone 100 pitches for the first time in his whole career. And he quieted the Dodgers lineup, which is a very good lineup. The Astros ended up winning 5-2. Bauer got the loss and Garcia got the win. Beautiful. Now is when everything gets a little bit tricky. In Game 3 of this week, the Astros lost 10-3 to the slumped Diego Padres, and a lot of games in this series were very, very winnable. But the first one kind of hit me hard in the beginning because I didn't see the second game yet. But in the first game, there's a 7-run inning in the last inning. I think it was 11 innings. That did not need to happen. If you look back at Jose Altuve's at bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs, he went over 6 that day, which I don't care about. I don't care if you go over 6. I don't want to see you go over 6, but you're a great hitter usually, so I don't care if you have 1 or 2 bad days. What I do care is that the bases were loaded, and this pitch from Melanson, I might show in the back, I might not. This pitch was heading to Altuve. This pitch was going to hit him. And if it hit him, everyone moves up. The bases are loaded. The guy at third is going to go home, and that's going to be a walk-off. We're all going to go home. Instead, Altuve yanks himself backwards, does not get hit, ends up flying out to center field. We head to the next inning, and then disaster. Which, everyone was like, oh, our bullpen sucks. Yeah, it does kind of suck, but that inning was very avoidable, so I didn't really care, especially since Brandon Bielak gave up 3 runs that game. All 3 were unearned, as they all scored on Altuve's error, which would have ended the inning, but did not. Rayleigh ended up taking the loss, I believe, on 1 unearned run because of the man on second, and then 3 earned runs. So he needed to, get his thing together. And oh yeah, we forgot to talk about it first. Abreu got his first save, which was a worry for us actually, because Presley was, he's our best reliever by far. And we're like, where is he? Why is he not pitching in this 3-run game? That's a safe situation. Abreu came in, brought the tying run in, not tying run in, but brought the tying run at bat with Albert Pujols, the Minute Maid killer, and he struck him out. But, it should not have been that nerve-wracking. Our bullpen needs to start pounding the zone. That's a huge facet of the game that, that's causing us to stumble. But anyways, I digress. Let's go back to the Padres. Framber Valdez made his debut. He did pretty good. The stats aren't showing very good right now. He does have a negative WAR currently. But he went 4 innings, gave up 2 hits. One was a Tommy Pham home run, which was not a Minute Maid Park special, I don't believe. I think it goes out of a few other parks, but it was not very deep. It was a wall scraper. Walked 2 and struck out 4. His hook looked very good as he froze Ha-Seong Kim to end his outing, I believe. I think. I don't know. I don't have that many notes. Javier had the exact same line. He gave up 1 home run to Fernando Tatis Jr. on a hanging slider. You don't want to do that a lot. He walked 2, struck out 4, only gave up 2 hits in 4 innings. So if you put them all together, because Javier is also a starting pitcher, but he was used as a reliever, that's 8 innings of 2-run baseball and 8 strikeouts. That's a good outing for both of them. We kind of had our worries with Javier as he just came off a stretch of pretty bad outings. He started the season really hot, didn't even give up any home runs, and then he just kind of stumbled a bit, gave up 3 home runs in Oakland, gave up a ton of walks in Arlington, and we were like, ooh, are we going to have the old Javier back? And guess what? In my opinion, we did get the old Javier back. So that's a great sign. He is now Framber is gonna pitch tomorrow, or today, when you guys see this. So I think we'll see Javier today too. Maybe piggyback off Framber if Framber is still on a pitch count, because he is still off rehab. It's a miracle that he's pitching. We all thought that he was gonna be out for the season, and I was super scared. But he was not. He looked great. His hook looked great. And he got a ton of strikeouts on that curveball last year. So let's see if he could do it again this year. Next up, we have another devastating loss to the Slump Diego Padres. The Astros jumped ahead on Yu Darvish early, scoring 5 runs in 5 innings. One of them was unearned, but it doesn't matter because a run is a run. We were up 5-0 at one point. And then Fernando Tatis grounded out to score a run, so it was 5-1, and then we scored another run, so it was 6-1. And After 9 innings, it was 6-6. A bunch of back and forth extra inning battles, which is okay because that's the unearned run, so we can't really blame our bullpen for the unearned run. Though it would be nice to see one shutdown inning. Um, but you can't really blame them for an unearned run. It's unearned for a reason. But let's talk about Taylor Jones again because, at first we were talking about how we hated him. He struck out to Bauer on a high fastball on a full counts with 2 outs, bases loaded. He's hurting our team. And then in the second game against Slump Diego, he dropped an easy foul ball that, would have ended the game. And Presley was already kind of exhausted. I don't know why he did not pitch to Manny Machado. Manny Machado walked on 4 pitches. Like, dude, Manny Machado's not hitting too well this season. Pound the zone on him, Presley. You're our star reliever for a reason. Cronenworth, he pounded the zone on Cronenworth, but Cronenworth is just a great hitter. He lined a double to left field, whatever. He's still the worst thing that could happen now is just Tatis hits a home run, and that wouldn't have happened if Taylor Jones could just catch a baseball. But apparently he cannot. Apparently you don't need to catch a baseball. You don't need to have the ability to catch a pop-up to play in the majors because Taylor Jones does not have that ability, and he's at the majors. And again, like I said, Presley was already throwing a lot of pitches, so you don't want to extend his outing, let alone make him pitch again to Fernando Tatis Jr. Like, I hate Fernando Tatis Jr., but that's because he's great, alright? He's good. I'm not going to lie, he's good. Is he overrated? 1,000%. But he's still good. Overrated does not mean he's bad. And our bullpen. Our bullpen is an issue because if Presley cannot hold down a 3-run lead, if Joe Smith is going to allow 2 runs every time he's out, and if the bullpen is going to blow a 5-run lead, that's an issue. I could do that for y'all for free. I could blow 5-run leads. Easy. I'll charge you guys a lot less than Joe Smith and Ryan Presley will, And then later on, Ralph Garza Jr., I think that's his name, made his major league debut. Congrats to him. He gave up a 3-run home run to Will Myers. So no congrats on that part, but congrats on making your debut. That's more than I can ever say. And congrats on taking the loss. I'm just kidding. You got your first strikeout too, so congratulations there. All in all, that was horrible, and that has had us all paranoid. And the next game, I didn't even want to watch this game. To be very honest with y'all, I don't even know what happened in the beginning because before game time, I was like, do I really want to watch this? Because it was 11 a.m. And I was like, no, I don't. I don't want to watch it. I took a nap. I woke up. It was 7-0. I was like, ooh. You see, that's good, but, like, we could do better because, like, our bullpen, that's not a safe lead. And guess what? It wasn't. Greinke ended up giving 1 run to Webster Hivas. And let me just tell y'all really quick, that fan who threw the ball back is stupid. That's Webster Rivas' first hit and first home run. I was kind of petty at the time, so I was like, if that was me, I'm walking away. He's never seen that ball, and he's never going to get that milestone ball, and I don't care because screw the Padres. But guess what? Even if you weren't petty, you could trade that in for a bat from Tatis or something. You could trade that in for a lot of things because that's those kind of things, you could get a lot from that. You can even meet up Fernando Tatis Jr., to be honest. So, the fan is stupid. Greinke, he went 8 innings of 1-run baseball. That is so clutch. And, we'll talk about clutchness later. But in this outing, our bullpen was obviously drained after going 2 really deep extra inning games. We did not want to use the bullpen. And especially because they're bad. They're a bad bullpen, a drained and bad bullpen. That's disaster. And the disaster almost showed off in the 9th inning when Andre Scrub came in and gave up a home run to Will Myers and then a home run to Ha-Seong Kim and turned it from a 7-1 game to a 7-4 game in the matter of 1 inning. So that's horrible. Don't do that, Andre Scrub, please. And well, he can't because he got sent down to AAA, so that's good. And let's talk about Snell real quick. In the ALCS with against Tampa Bay, Snell gave up only 1 run to us in the first game, and I don't know how much he gave up to us in the second game. But Snell was like he was getting rocked. He was getting himself into jams, and he was just getting very lucky with this shift because the Astros were hitting the ball very, very hard into the shift. And that's all thanks to Kevin Cash, who's super analytical. And guess what? Snell gets traded. He throws shade at Kevin Cash, his new manager. You know, he's not doing good with his new manager because his new manager is not too analytical. And guess what? Kyle Tucker said, I'm going to reverse the roles. He hit a Crawford special off of Blake Snell that ended up being the game-winning home run because it was a 3-run home run and they won by 3 runs. And Snell, you know, who was giving up hard contact outs to the Astros in the ALCS, ended up giving up a soft contact home run. So Snell, you know, I didn't agree with Kevin Cash pulling you out, but you know, you shouldn't ever talk bad about a former manager or a current manager, and that's what you get. You know, now you're doing horrible in San Diego, and we reversed the roles on you. We got a cheap run off of you. You know, though you guys still beat us in the ALCS, and I'm still kind of petty about that. But who cares? But let's talk about the series in general. Our starting pitchers... Okay, never mind. This is not this series in general. Let's just continue on then. My bad. My notes are so off the charts. Okay, let's talk about this next series against the Red Sox. At first I was talking about Greinke being clutch or going deep and not letting the bullpen, you know, be drained. We didn't have a day off in between the Padres and Red Sox series. And Urquidy, you know, he's coming off a rehab stint. So he's probably going to be on a pitch count as well. Well, guess what? He made the most of his pitch count. He does what I always say, throws strikes. He threw strikes. He threw 28 balls and 26 balls and 61 strikes. That's a very good strike percentage. I think that's around 75%, around there. So he made the most out of his pitch count because it was limited, and he ended up going 6 innings and striking out 9. Super efficient. He had a no-hitter going into the 5th, and then he gave up a double to Christian Vasquez, and then the next inning, in the 6th inning, he gave up a double. I don't even know who he gave up a double to. He gave up 2 doubles, and that was the 1 run scored. And he ended his outing with 6 innings pitched and only 3 hits allowed, I think. And then we went to Paredes, who we were talking about at first. He could not command anything this season at all. We were like, ooh, is this lead very safe? Because, you know, I know we won 11-2 at the end, but like, is this lead very safe? You know, Paredes ended up throwing some strikes. You know, he threw 8 balls and 10 strikes. That's not a very good strike percentage, but hey, he's throwing more strikes than balls, which I don't think he's done that for a long time. So good job on Paredes. He ends up striking out the side. So, you know, we always knew he had good stuff. He has a nasty slider. He's got high velo on that fastball. He's got an electric presence. And, you know, he made the most of it this time. And if he could find his zone, then he's an asset, you know. The thing is, he was kind of rushed up to the majors last year because our bullpen was very drained and we were just bringing up a ton of rookies. And there was no minor league baseball at all, so we couldn't let him develop. This year we could let him develop, and we did let him develop. So good job. Well, no, we didn't actually. He had a rehab stint, and he did really well there. But when we sent him down, I don't think he even played a single game in AAA. We just brought him back up when we sent Brian Abreu to the DL. And it looks like Brian Abreu is not going to be here for a while because he is on crutches right now. So we wish you the best of luck, Brian Abreu, but you know, we could we could do without you just for a little bit, all right. And then Luis Garcia, whoo. Luis Garcia has made himself a presence. If basically shutting down the Dodgers was not enough, last night, which is basically tonight for me, he went 7 innings and only gave up 1 run, which could have been avoidable. 5 hits, and let's talk about his fielding later on, but 5 hits, 2 of them could be avoided, and he struck out 6, I think. Yeah, the last time he struck out 7, so he's getting strikeouts, which is good. That's a good number. I'm not really huge on strikeouts. Like I think they're satisfying to get, but if you're gonna give up soft contact instead, like hey, I'll let you do your thing. We don't need strikeouts. Soft contact usually results in lower pitch counts. So if you want to be more efficient, be more efficient. But strikeouts are nice. But we do need to talk about his fielding. He had that unearned run last time, as we talked about on the error, and today he did not have any errors, but he had 2 hits that were very avoidable. In the beginning, Alex Verdugo hits a grounder to Yuli. He flips it to Garcia. Garcia cannot find the bag, which, hey, you know what? I don't blame you. Like, it's a very nerve-wracking thing to do. Like, you're not even looking. You're basically guessing with your foot, and you don't want to pull off a Joe Kelly and just slap it in front of the bag and then get stepped on, So, Garcia, I don't blame you for that first one, but the second one, Yuli makes a diving catch with a man on second. Garcia's not covering. Yuli cannot make it there. He lobs it to Garcia anyways. Garcia just doesn't get it because it was a really high lob. And Garcia was not going to make it at all because he was not covering in the beginning. He was just watching. And that led to a man on first and third with no outs. That run ended up scoring for the only run for Garcia's line last night. And other than that, he's been great. So I assume that he will be practicing a lot more fielding on his off days. But hey, our pitchers have been very clutch. That's 8, 6, 7, 13, 21. That's 21 innings covered by starting pitching in the last 3 games. No. Yeah. And then there are only 27 innings in those 3 games, I believe. Yes, because we did not go to extra innings. That's huge for the starting pitching. We only used a couple of relievers yesterday, or in the last 3 days, and we gave our bullpen a huge break. Ryan Presley should be good now, after pitching almost 40 pitches. We're like, ooh, he's going to be out for a while. Well, guess what? We didn't need him. We didn't have any safe situations after that. So that's super clutch on the pitching. Props to Greinke. He's an ace because he shines when he needs to. In Oakland, we came off a huge, like, our bullpen sucked again, and he went deep in Oakland, and then after our bullpen blew it again, he went deep against the Padres. So he was super clutch, as he usually is. And then Urquidy went really well. He's super efficient with his pitches. I love it. I love a player who could just pound the zone, challenge the hitters. Nowadays, every hitter is just going for the long ball. So if you're throwing strikes, you're either going to give up a long ball once every, a couple of pitches. Not a couple, a lot of pitches. Once every 20 to 100 pitches. I don't even know. Urquidy didn't give up a single home run, actually. Versus, the other 99 times, you get a swing and miss because everyone's just swinging blindly now. They're just swinging with all their power, and they're not even trying to touch the ball. They're just trying to, they're guessing where it is, and then if they guess correctly, they're like, okay, if we touch it, send it out of here. So a lot of swings and misses now from the league, and take advantage of that. If you're gonna get a lot of swing and misses, you might as well, pound the zone. You might as well get strikes. Don't give up free passes. That's what killed the Astros. I don't even have the numbers on that, but I do know that we have a ton of walks, and in this stretch, this whole week, starting pitching was 3-1, with that one loss being from Greinke. But we had a 2.04 ERA, and sorry, I have to read. I have to continue that. It got cut off. So we have a 52 ERA minus, which means we are 48% better than the rest of the league when it comes to starting pitching versus league pitching, because it's not starting pitching versus league start versus other teams starting pitching. It's just starting pitching versus everyone else's pitching. But 48% above average is great. That's beautiful. And we only gave up 8 earned runs in 35 1/3 innings pitched. And keep in mind of that, because the relief pitchers had a 7.99 ERA, which is horrible, and a 194 ERA minus, which means we are 94% below average when it comes to our bullpen. So our bullpen needs to pick that up, because that's horrible. Like, absolutely horrible. And ERA minus, I adjust for ballpark. So, like, it's not even like them getting lucky, you know. And they gave up 21 earned runs. So, like, I know we had a lot of extra inning games, so a lot of base runners that were not supposed to be there. Those don't count. These are earned runs. 21 earned runs in 23 2/3 innings pitched. That's almost 3 times as many runs as the starting pitchers gave up in less innings that the starting pitchers pitched. So this bullpen is really, 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 really falling behind in comparison to our starting pitching, and that's a huge issue. You know, that should never be happening. Like, I'm reading off this, and let me do the math really quick. No, I'm not gonna do math. This is horrible. You know, our starting pitching is great. It's 48% above league average in pitching. Our bullpen, on the other hand, is 94% below league average. How do you even get that far from each other? At that point, you know, just, I don't know, like 194%. We're almost 100% below league average. Like, how does that even? What does that even mean? You know? Wait, no, it's relievers. I don't even know. Actually, this might be compared to other starting pitching versus, like, starting pitching versus other starting pitching, and then relievers versus other relievers. I don't even know what Fangraphs did. So I'll have to check that out. And yeah, so there's a huge discrepancy. Our bullpen was 0-2, so we're already losing more games in our bullpen than losses with our starting pitching. That's an issue that shouldn't be an issue. You know, with Ryan Presley, one of the best relievers in the league. Ryan Stanek was shining in the beginning of the season, not anymore, but he's picking it up. I think. Rayleigh did well, 1-3 inning, but he's so bipolar. Like, he was great up until he was horrible to start the season, and then he was great, and then he just had that horrible outing again. He's great against lefties, but yeah, he's not very reliable to me anymore. Stanek, not very reliable to me anymore. He's having a bad stretch of outings, but he started off great, and I was a guy who was super hyped on Stanek. You know. If you guys roll the clip, I can't roll the clip on this, but if you guys go look back at what I said after the offseason, I was like, I'm super high on Ryan Stanek. I think he's great. He's going to do well. He just needs to find his command. And he found his command in the beginning, and then he just lost it. So Ryan Stanek, if he picks himself up, he's great. Roberto Osuna is not pitching for us anymore, obviously. He's pitching for Mexico now. But he was a great closer, regardless of what y'all said about his outside of baseball life. He was a great closer, and in terms of talent, I bet that the Astros do miss him. But yeah, thank you guys for listening or watching this first episode of StrosTalk. It's a little late, so I couldn't be more emphasized. And now I have to edit this in like an hour, hopefully. I don't know. I'm probably not gonna play any videos in the back for the visuals. Like if you're watching this on YouTube, it's probably just gonna be a desk in the back or something, or Minute Maid Park. And if you're listening, you're not gonna see anything. So, thank you guys for watching, and yeah. I'm a classic